Welcome everybody to the Dansports tip preview for the baseball for the 6th of April. We had a good night last night. We went, where did we go? We went 4-3 on our bets and we made a profit on the night, taking the season record to 6-8-2, and we're in profit now for 9.70 points on the year, which is where we want to be. There's a lot of plays tonight, so I'm going to dive straight in. Let's win some more cash. First game I'm going to talk about today is the San Francisco Giants at the Milwaukee Brewers. Jeff Samardzija will pitch tonight for San Francisco. He was pitching for the White Sox last year, and in all honesty, he was crap. Until his last start of this spring as well, he'd not been very good in spring training, which is never a good sign, even though you don't want to put too much stock into spring training numbers. He's got an awful record in Milwaukee. He's 0-5 with a 4.85 against the Brewers. And if you go to Miller Park, then that ERA increases to 6.55. Tyler Youngman has been okay at home, but has never faced the Giants. San Francisco have been swinging the bat well in this series. They've put up an awful lot of runs, and the line for total runs in the game is 8.5. I'm certainly willing to invest some money at over 8.5 runs at even money with Sky. I think that looks a fair bet in this game. I'm not willing to trust Youngman and the Brewers, so that's why I've leaned towards the over in this one. The Seattle Mariners at the Texas Rangers. Wade Miley will pitch tonight for Seattle. He had a very poor year in my eyes in the Red Sox rotation last year. He has only started once in the last 3 years in Arlington, and it didn't go very well. He's got 11.25 ERA in that one start. Again, it is only one start, so you don't want to put too much emphasis on it. Colby Lewis will oppose. He won a lot of games last year for the Rangers, but he had a high run support average. He was averaging 6 runs of support from the offense, which is always going to help a pitcher out, particularly one that's allowed 27 home runs last year. 27's a big number. This ballpark is a hitter's ballpark as well, and you have got power hitters, the likes of Nelson Cruz, Robinson Cano, Kyle Seager, all for Seattle, so this looks like a game with a lot of runs as well. I am going to play the over 9.5 runs, which is the line at 10-11 with William Hill, and I am going to also play Seattle minus 1.5, just because Texas haven't really swung the bat that well this year. Wade Miley could give them the opportunity to do so, but I'm definitely expecting some Seattle runs, so we'll play Seattle on a run line as well, just to cover our backs in case Texas don't hit again. Detroit at Miami is a good pitching matchup. You've got Anibal Sanchez and Jose Fernandez. I like Anibal Sanchez, who's pitching for Detroit. He did have 4 poor starts at the back end of last year prior to going onto the disabled list, but it's very hard to avoid Jose Fernandez numbers at home. He's started 27 times for the Miami Marlins. He's 17-0 in those games with a 1.40 ERA, and purely on that basis alone, while I understand there's going to come a day where Fernandez loses at home, 6-4 minus 1.5 with a team that can hit, that can score runs, and someone like Fernandez on the hill at home, I'm going to be playing with the Miami Marlins to get on the board today. Boston Red Sox at the Cleveland Indians. We've got Clay Buchholz against Carlos Carrasco. That's another good pitching matchup. Buchholz had looked very good prior to getting injured last year. He was certainly one of the highlights of what was a very poor Boston Red Sox rotation. Carlos Carrasco is a very good pitcher. There's lots of talk about him, lots of buzz for the Cy Young this year. They're certainly expecting a lot out of him in Cleveland. I'd be concerned about his form in April over the last 3 years. He's made 9 starts. He is only 2-6 in those games with a 6.70 ERA. Boston got on base, and they got on base frequently in the game yesterday, which would be an encouraging sign for them. So I think Boston minus 1.5 at 3.30 with Bet365 looks a pretty intriguing price, and I'm certainly going to play some on that today. The Minnesota Twins at Baltimore. Obviously, we played Minnesota the other day. They're going to send another ground ball pitcher to the hill tonight in Kyle Gibson. I've already stated on this series that the Baltimore lineup is very, very boom and bust. They'll strike out a lot. They'll hit home runs, but Gibson averages less than a home run per start, and certainly I'd fancy that he can maybe keep the ball down, keep it in the ballpark today. Yovani Gallardo will pitch for Baltimore. He's prior to his last start at spring training, he was terrible in spring, gave up a lot of home runs. But even though I don't like to put a lot of stock in spring training numbers, he's erratic at best. He's 0-1 with a 5.06 ERA in his 2 starts against the Twins the last few years, and I certainly think that that Minnesota are even money on a money line are a decent looking play today. The Houston Astros are back in New York for Game 2 of the series tonight. And I have to say, I think the market's got this game all wrong. Houston's won 4 straight, including the wild card play-in game last year in the Bronx. Colin McHugh has a 1.88 ERA in the 2 starts he's made at Yankee Stadium. Michael Pineda, who will pitch for New York tonight, has struggled mightily against the Astros. He's 0-2 last year against them with a 5.11 ERA and didn't have a great spring training. If anybody can tell me why the New York Yankees are the favourites to win this game, then more power to you, please, in the comments. It's beyond me. I did also take a look at Tampa and Toronto tonight. I was leaning in the direction of playing the Rays, but there just wasn't quite enough there for me to want to play that game, and there's a lot of plays today as it is anyway. And I would just say, if you want to subscribe to the channel, please like the video, get back to me with your plays in the comments section, and hit me up on Twitter at Dansports.tips. Thanks for watching the video today. Best of luck if you're making plays yourself tonight. Let's win some money. Play ball.